Oh yeah, we're live with one of my favorite comedians and cultural commentators. I've coined you that, Christian Finnegan. I think you're
Thank
great.
you.
You're great at cultural commentating.
Thank you. I don't think cultural commentary, I believe, might be the term, but
You know what?
commentating.
I think either one works. People know what, but you're right, and that's why you're so
Hey,
good at
what'd you do
commentary.
last night? I commentated.
That's a great job. But
Yeah.
that's you have a real a lot of wisdom, a lot of insight, and a real great frame of reference on culture, on politics, on gender and race, on entertainment, especially on art
Pretty
and
much everything. I mean, I'm kind of a septuple threat.
you also know as much about music as anybody. You know, you write the Substack, New Music for Olds. And so what is your cultural blind spot, cultural commentator, Christian?
Oh boy.
Fine art?
Anything.
Fine
Well,
art?
what'd you say?
Fine art?
No, I mean, anything in the arts, I feel like I can at least pretend to have an opinion on. Finance, especially like personal finance. Like I can I can have a semi-intelligent conversation about economics in the sort of broader social sense. But
Yeah.
if you want to talk about like IRAs and things like that, then I have like a cilantro aversion to anything like personal finance related.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It's
Personal
not good.
finance.
It's not good.
Yeah, I don't think about it that much. It doesn't motivate me. I don't think about it enough, and it's not good. It's yeah.
Do I not think about it. I run screaming from it. Like, if anybody starts talking about, oh man, have you thought about investing? I'm like, no, that's for adults.
I was I was
I'm a
talking
young boy.
I was talking to my investment portfolio manager at Ritholtz Wealth Management, and I told him I just don't want to talk to you anymore. I was like, "Are we done yet? I don't want to
Yeah.
do this." I was like, "No offense, Tony. You're really smart and you're a great guy, but I don't want to talk to you anymore about this. You want to talk about
Yeah,
something
you've got to know that when you do that stuff for a living, because we all have a shut off valve when it comes to numbers and finance and things like that, where it's just like, all right, I'm done trying to talk about this. I don't understand how that can be the bulk of someone's day-to-day work life,
Yeah,
just
I
talking
wonder
about that
about
crap.
that. I wonder about that too. Especially, it's one thing if you're helping clients with their family investment portfolio or even their last will and testament or something like that. But if you're like a hedge fund manager, I don't really know how you get through the day in a way that engage and entertain without guilt. By the way,
There's
uh,
another one of those Sirius XM ads that always bothers me, where it's like some, uh, you know, uh, employee retention, or trying to hire new employees and whatnot, and it's like, our passion is employee retention or something. Like, it's like, no, it's not. That would be weird if that was your passion. Your passion is getting paid well and going on vacation with your family and
yeah.
having a nice house. That's your passion. This is what you're willing to do to fund your passion.
Speaking of serious and employee retention, how about this? Howard Stern apparently is getting canceled. Did you see that? Did you hear about that?
No. Oh
Maybe it's
my
not true.
God.
Maybe it's not true, but
Well,
there's
then
pretty good
kiss
sourcing on
kiss
it.
Sirius XM goodbye, I guess.
I don't know. I wonder. Yeah,
I
I
wonder.
wonder.
I mean, I know that was the case 10 years ago. Maybe things have changed, but I know
My
for a
old
long
opinion
time.
of SiriusXM was that their bread and butter was live sports, and they had deals with every leagues, and they were in the dashboard of every car manufacturer. Although I know that's changed a lot. SiriusXM doesn't have the deals that they used to with all of the automobile manufacturers. So yeah, but if they they can't pay him whatever he was getting, $100 million, whatever he was getting a year, certainly, and he's not going to take less. He's probably going to quit, retire, go off in the sunset.
He'll probably quit and do something more, you know, public facing. Like he'll probably go on the interview circuit and maybe try to do a Netflix show or something like that. That would be my guess. He'll have like a Letterman's interview show. He'll do something like that.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
Will you miss it? Was the last time you heard that?
No, I won't. There was definitely a time in my life where I watched a lot of Howard, especially when it was like on E and like in the late 90s. My stepbrother and I were living together and he was a big fan. And so I watched a lot of those late 90s Stern episodes. And, I will always appreciate him as just sort of a guy in media who is very entertaining and good at what he does. But I personally will not feel any sense of loss.
A lot of things I wanted to talk with you about from this week. I'm always happy when you join me at the end of the week to get your perspective on it all. And let's start with this big issue that is not going away. We've talked about it for weeks. A lot of us have. This one is sustaining. It's the Epstein case, and specifically all of the developments, new information, and the fact that they moved Ghislaine Maxwell to a minimum security prison. Looks like they're trying to make a deal with her. There's supposed to be some strategy meeting at the vice president's house, and he was like, "Well, that's not happening. I'm a douchebag." And so, what are your thoughts about the whole Ghislaine Maxwell? I watched that Netflix series or a 2-episode documentary on her, and yeah, she's way up there at the top of people who have groomed, recruited, and sexually assaulted herself a number of children, underage women, young women.
Yeah. It's fun to watch the narrative be written in real time. It's weird. It's rare that a cover-up, and I mean, even calling it a cover-up is insulting. It's not a cover-up. It's a flaunting of that there's no one who will stop them. You know, it's you know, and I think that I think Trump learned, and the people around Trump learned early on, that the scandal, you know, or it wouldn't be a scandal if they just did things out in the open, if they made it so supremely obvious that it didn't seem like they were being found out.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think it's not even like do the math. It's like 2 + 2 + 2. It's like, oh, okay, so first of all, we need a national summit on how we're going to pronounce this woman's name. It's been years now, and we need to get on the same page. Ghislaine. I've never heard Ghislaine, which is the way you I've heard Ghislaine, I've heard Ghislaine, I've heard Ghislaine, I've heard Ghislaine, I've heard Ghislaine. Like, we need to just all settle on one. I you know, having taken French in high school, I don't want to brag. I would go to the classic Ghislaine.
Oh, Ghislaine. Okay.
Ghislaine. I mean, I think in France, that's how it would be said.
However she wants it to be pronounced. I want to respect her. I want to show her respect.
Of course, we want to make sure that we're
wish her well. You know, I wish her well.
Yeah. I think that to me is just the insulting part of it is the flaunting of you can't do anything about this. It's almost like there's that scene. I don't know if I've seen The Wire, Pete. I don't want to brag, but I'm a middle-aged white guy who's a fan of The Wire.
I've never watched it, to my great embarrassment.
I don't think it's anything to be embarrassed about, but it's a quality show, and it's worth seeing. But there's a scene where one of the sort of drug kingpin dudes, Marlowe, goes into like a convenience store and makes eye contact with just a security guard who's standing there, and like grabs a bag of chips and walks out with it, like while making eye contact with him. And then the guy comes out and is like, "Come on, man! Like, why do you have to do that right in front of me? Like, I'm not trying to challenge you. I know who you are, but like, you know, don't embarrass me like that." And the guy's just basically like, you know, he says like, "You want it to be one way, but it's the other way." You know, basically saying it's like you want things to be justified, and you want you to be a position of authority, and I should follow the rules, and sorry, tough shit. And then later has the dude killed. But that's truly the most enraging part of it, is just the lack of, and to watch all these people slowly, it feels like what they're trying to offer the people on the right who are upset about Epstein is, okay, we get it. We needed to give you a plausible deniability bullshit story that you could move on. We realized that it was too much of an ask for us just to say, there's nothing here to see, go away, turn away, after you've been talking about this on your podcasts.
We pumped it up. It's this balloon. We blew it up. We blew it up. We blew it up. We brought you over here, and now it's like, nah, you can't have it.
Yeah. And we realized that we fucked up. So now let's just create the loosest, most pathetic, most obvious cover story so that we can move on and you can act like you got to the truth. And I'm curious to see how well that is going to sell.
Well, what is
among the bro podcaster community?
We haven't heard anything thing even close to a cover story yet, right? You're not
but
saying,
I mean, they're setting it up. I mean, they're
right.
clearly setting it up. I mean, already these leaked statements that Ghislaine isn't going to have anything incriminating on Trump. It's like, oh, well, that's really
Mm.
well, how fortuitous that 2 weeks after they move her to a Club Med prison, that it happens to leak that she has nothing bad to say about Trump. And it's, again, we all can see it. Anybody who's being remotely, anyone who's acting in good faith at all can see what's going on. But I really feel like that's what's happening now, is they're offering this just pathetic cover story to see if that's enough for the people who are pissed on the right to kind of feel like they got their scalp and move on.
Enough? And do you think it will be enough? And do you think that the Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon, Joe Rogan, and I don't know which other comedians podcast, Theo Vaughn, have a lot of influence? In the aggregate, I think they definitely do. I think they have.
I think they do.
The most.
I mean, it's a pathetic statement on our culture, but yeah.
They have more influence than, a scientist, an actual Neil deGrasse Tyson, or like from COVID, where it all kind of started for those guys, to now. I feel like they have an influence on a huge segment of our population, young men.
And it might not even be huge in terms of numbers, but it's huge in terms of the
ripple effect
portrayal of Trump, like Trump as national totem. That there was a thing that's developed since Trump came on, that there's almost this idea that, like, conservatism is the new punk rock. This idea that we're the edgy truth tellers.
MAGA is the new punk rock?
Yeah, or just the idea that, like, oh, they're the establishment, and we're the punk rock coming in and tearing it all down, and we're 4 chords and 3 chords in the truth, and they're Led Zeppelin and Yes and Pink Floyd and all that. And I think that this cuts very directly against that narrative. And so I am interested to see. I mean, I know that, and I hate, just as a comedian, I'm not going to single out any one of them in particular. I hate knowing what these dummies think about anything, because I don't respect them as comics at all. I mean, I don't disrespect them. Like, I'll just pick Andrew Schultz, for example. Like, I get along with Andrew Schultz. If I bumped into him, we've never had a bad interaction, whatever. And I recognize that he's an effective comedian. Do you know what I mean? He's effective. He's effective. He does very well.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not my cup of tea. That's fine. But
I like his crowd work.
Yeah, I can respect it, and I totally see, oh, that guy does well. But, like,
you don't care what he thinks about health.
I have to care what his opinions are, or that his opinions carry any weight. It really is like a mental torture chamber. Like, I feel,
some tab just started playing. Sorry, apologize. Hopefully nobody else heard it. But go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it really does feel like some sort of Saw, like the movie Saw. Some sort of torture apparatus, but for my self-worth and my love of comedy.
Right.
That every day I am forced to acknowledge that the most replacement level comedians in America are somehow culturally ascendant. And it's hard, and I'm not going to say it's not true, but it's difficult for me to think that, like, a Theo Vaughn actually has influence.
Well, that's such a great point to hear you make at this point in your career, having established everything that you have. It's really cathartic to hear you say that, really, especially Theo Vaughn. I don't know the guy. Seems nice enough.
Nice. I've met him a couple times. He's extremely nice,
and seems like he's crafted a career. But let's just, he got well known on MTV and then did comedy. I'm always a little less interested in people who started comedy after they got well known on some other thing or in some other thing.
You mean like our Secretary of Transportation?
Sean Duffy was also on MTV.
He was on Road Rules, I think. I get them all mixed up. I think Theo Vaughn was from Road Rules.
Yeah, I mean, there's reasons why people become well known or influential or influencers, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be a great politician, comedian, or anything else, spokesman for a thing. And I just feel like all these comedians just asking questions about science and scientists, and not just vaccines and shit. It's it's so tiresome. And
I saw someone. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I get personally irked because like Joe Rogan knows better. He interviewed Peter Hotez. I was on with him. I told him on his show to interview this guy and that guy, and he just didn't. And it's like, why? You know, they're not like I just have
because why would he? I'm not, and I know that it's part of his brand that he presents himself as someone who talks to both sides and talks to everyone, but he's not going to spend a lot of time talking to people who are going to directly piss off his fan base
I guess I hate to think that
unless it's to destroy them. Like he's not going to listen. He might interview somebody who his fan base hates, but it's not going to be to like take them seriously. It's going to be as kind of a gladiatorial
event. I think there's no doubt that they're super influential, and the reason I say that is because there's reporting right now, for example, that they're thinking about putting this lawyer Todd Blanche, who made the deal with Ghislaine Maxwell. He shouldn't even fucking talking to her. Trump's personal attorney, now working in the government. And they're like, maybe he should go on with Joe Rogan. And my point is, if they think that that's the place he should go, and that's where Kash Patel went, that's the place to go for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and it really, like, this is where the rubber hits the road for these guys.
As opposed I guess is what I've been minutes or just about any other journalist, Mehdi Hassan or some journalist that asks hard questions and does journalism. There's such an important role for journalism, or pretending even to try, as I've always done, to practice journalistic ethics. But these Joe Rogans and everybody else, they're not trying to do that.
Okay, how much time has Mehdi Hassan spent in a hyperbaric chamber is my question for you. How much deer hunting has Mehdi Hassan done?
Really so soft. I bet you Mehdi Hassan's like, muscle mass is not like, I don't think he's like thinking about protein and strength training that much.
It's somebody, and I'd love to credit this person, but somebody on Blue Sky was saying that men, and this is kind of getting back to the whole quote unquote male loneliness epidemic, but that this is as close as a lot of guys can get to hanging out with other people now. It feels like they're hanging out with friends.
Yeah, I think that's,
and some of that is Zoom, some of that is the pandemic. That's obviously very acute in the pandemic, but it's just like, to me, it's not very complicated. It's morning radio, but without all the crappy parts of morning radio.
Yes.
Imagine if think of the relationship that people had with their morning radio DJs in the 80s and 90s, like Stern being a perfect example.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the reasons that people bonded with Stern so much is that they didn't have to do a bunch of like, hey, here's the new hit by, Pearl Jam or whatever. It was mostly just talk, but they still had to do commercials and on-air things, all those things that sort of that remind the listener that this is artificial and that this isn't just a friend of mine talking to me. Well, podcasts don't have really to do any of that, other than maybe a ad read for Blue Apron or Sherry's Berries or whatever. Mostly it's just hanging out. It's hanging out and talking. And it's not really much different than morning radio. It's just with all the articles.
I'm fine with that aspect of it making you feel like you're not alone, creating community, like these people are your friends. That's what we try to do when we're on the radio, especially. It's what we try to do in any kind of, all kinds of media. I mean, how many Instagram influencers open their videos with, hey guys, like they know each other. And I'm fine with that. It's just not the place to go to find out about cancer and vaccine and climate. That's all. Like, make friends.
Well, I mean,
feel connected. But like, if you want to know about cancer, talk to an oncologist.
No, Mr. Believing the institution's
always
your own.
Been my thing, dude. Since in 2008 when I started that show, it's
somebody's in line with big cancer. It looks like somebody needs to maha.
That reminds me, I have to do a live read myself for cancer.
Folks, oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of people want to stand up against cancer. Not me.
Not Pete.
Bring it.
I've always known you were
because I want to beat it. I want to take a shot at cancer. It can't beat me. I fucking hate when people do that.
Oh, I really hate that too.
Fight hard and beat cancer. That's not how it works.
My brave fight against cancer. It's like, oh, you mean my lizard brain desire to continue living? Like that's I don't know if it's brave.
Colbert had a very funny.
It's like somebody pulled out a gun and he very bravely ran behind a building. It's like, yeah, he didn't want to die, so he tried to
Right,
do the
right.
things that would help him not die.
Yeah, yeah. For fans of not dying was the way that Colbert. For fans of living is how I think Colbert started a joke last night about the vaccines that RFK is getting rid of the mRNA vaccine investments, and Colbert's like, for fans of living.
I'd love to see an obituary. Today Pete Dominic died after a long, completely humiliating battle against cancer, in which cancer whipped his ass and routed Pete.
His weakness from diagnosis to death was on display for all to see. He was lazy, coward-like, and a needy little bitch.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I hope I die very quickly. I hope it's a bus. This week even. That's fine.
All right, moving on. Speaking of this, you made it sound like you can make an appointment.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the big, some other big news this week. It's the ICE recruiting blitz that they've been able to now put into effect because they got all the money they could possibly hope for because of the big bad deportation bill, and now they are changing the hiring issue or requirements around age. So I don't know if it means they're trying to recruit like 16-year-olds or if they're more likely trying to recruit over 30, 40-year-olds. But I do know that former Superman actor and now not working actor for a really long time, Dean Cain, is joining ICE. So are a whole bunch of other people. Sounds like a really good job in terms of financial security, but not in terms of going to heaven.
I feel like, it's going to be really hard. We're not feeling the pain now, but a year from now, when there are no new Dean Cain movies for us to enjoy,
oh, there'll be more Dean Cain content.
There'll be Dean Cain content. Yes, yes. I mean, it just goes to show that everyone is just chasing eyeballs and chasing attention constantly. And I guess Dean Cain had posted an ICE recruitment videos and got a lot of, went viral with it. And he's like, oh, and I'm sure that probably his agent was like, have you thought of like just joining ICE? Like we could probably get a ton of followers from that.
You're giving him maybe too much credit. Maybe he's just an asshole and
I think he's fully an asshole, but it's, I do want to see him, his tubby 58 and 60, however old he is. I want to see his tubby ass crawling out of the back of a Penske van and trying to, it's nice when you become famous by portraying the gentlest, most affirming force in the culture, Superman, the most positive force in American culture, and then you trade that into chase day laborers and terrified mothers.
It's really quite an arc for your career. Who would have thought this is where he was going to be?
I mean, who would have thought that I would have to think where he was going to be? Who would have thought? Again, this is the whole game. Like, why are these people cluttering up our brains? Why are these cultural barnacles kind of clinging to any toehold in the culture for what? I don't know what Dean Cain is hoping to achieve. I mean, I guess he wants to be like a Fox News anchor, is my guess, is he wants to end up in that world.
I mean, I think that someone who is really very influential in the progressive political arena or the MAGA political arena is going to get speaking fees alone. I have.
Yeah.
I'm very, very low tier, like D list, and I've gotten great speaking fees. Not enough and not often enough, but the point is, if you're Dean Cain, he's getting invited to anything from Turning Point or maybe not even. That's the sad thing. Like maybe you're not even getting that.
Maybe not. Yeah, he might be still below that threshold.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the goal would be.
I actually, all these offers you see floating around social media now, $50,000 signing bonus will pay off your student loans.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, a good wage, good hours, health insurance. Like, oh, so you are able to offer a good wage to people to do something that you think is important. it almost sets the market for, God forbid, when rational, sane, empathetic people regain hold of our culture, not, my lips to God's ears. But like, okay, the market has been set. So if the United States government thinks something is important, this is what they're willing to pay to do this. And basically they are giving the life that we've been asking for as a country, sort of the dignity of like having paid vacations, having your not being buried under student loans, being, getting a livable wage. They're basically portraying, oh, this is what all of the quote unquote socialists have been asking for the last 20 years, is this life that you're offering to ICE. That is the lifestyle that you're advertising. And so, okay, I just hope people remember this. I hope people remember this when a President Ocasio-Cortez, or a president whomever gets into office, and there's discussions about like, okay, why aren't we paying teachers more? Why aren't we paying firefighters more? Why aren't we paying, why aren't we paying for FEMA and all these things? And people say, oh, well, we have no money to do that kind of stuff. It's like, really? Because you've shown that when something is a priority for you, this is what you're willing to pay. So, I mean, it's always been a bullshit dodge. But to me, it's like, I hope that people remember, the Democrats save all of the carrots that are being dangled in front of 19-year-old sociopaths.
Wouldn't it be nice if that could come back and we could point to the arguments that they were making or the things that they were doing now to defend government workers, which has always been a pretty good, secure job, which is why people want to work in it. And you can always defend, even when you're a conservative who hates government, certain type of government jobs are constitutional and worthy. And most of those jobs are the jobs that are in law enforcement of some sort. It's not the quote bureaucrats, because the bureaucrats are not real people, Christian. They're not doing, the people who take statistics, say at BLS or at NOAA or any other really important agency that we all rely upon. Those people are fucking zeros.
And they just sit around laughing all day at all the money, all the tax money they're stealing from you. They sit around and they just gleeful, like, I can't believe that we have this awesome, cushy job at the DMV or at the post office.
Not one of them is at their target weight.
No. Well, I mean, because they're eating too much ultra-processed foods, apparently.
Let me ask you about another issue, which is the Cuomo brothers, because we can kind of tie this one together. Andrew Cuomo is surprisingly still running for mayor in New York City, which is just crazy. He's so bad at it. He's so bad at campaigning. And his brother, Chris Cuomo, has an internet show or a News Nation show, and he's really jumped the shark in a lot of ways. His whole situation is a sad story. But he's yesterday shared a fake video of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, this guy has always prided himself on being a journalist. No journalist ever really thought that about him. No. Yesterday, he shared a deep fake, and it said on the video, this video is a parody. No one could possibly believe that she was really saying these things. And he shared it, and he scolded her. And between these two guys, I don't know which one at this point I really want to hang out with more.
How am I displaying more impulse control on social media than Chris Cuomo? I don't post a ton on social media, but I smoke pot. Let's be very clear. I am not always 100% in my right brain. But how do people hit send on some of these things without doing just the most perfunctory? I'm not even asking people to hire a crew of fact checkers. I'm saying just a bit of skepticism and a bit of incredulity. That if something, here's my little rule of thumb. If I see something that enrages me so much that I immediately want to post about it, it requires an extra 30 seconds of scrutiny in this day and age where everything is being manufactured and fake, because it's very clear he didn't watch the whole video. He probably didn't even watch any of it. He watched 5 seconds of it and saw an opportunity to sort of, to snipe from the rooftops and bring down the leg drop on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And of course, now there's no there's no apologizing anymore. Everything that's
did he not admit he got it wrong or something?
Oh, he did, but it was one of those like, thank you for telling me it is fake. I understand that. But what's the real you didn't answer the real question I was asking. So, well, because this wasn't a conversation before you made up this thing. Like, this wasn't a debate that I'm trying to dodge your question. You attacked me over nothing, over something that you think you saw, and then you tried to bring the argument to what you perceive as being stronger ground for you.
It's simpler than that. I think that he shared this video of AOC, which was fake, and she fact checked him on social media. She's like, dude, that's fake. Whatever she said.
Yeah.
And once she replied, he leveraged her reply. She's such a huge and influential person, one of the most famous, top 5 in the country. When she replied, that's all he needed. Because by the way, I can tell you this about Chris Cuomo. Before he even started at Sirius, before I got to know him, because he hosted the show after me in the same studio and I got to know him, I called him out just on Twitter for something he was saying on CNN. And I remember I was driving in and tweeting because I take risks. And he replied to me. I don't know if he knew who I was. My profile was, middle, I don't know. But he replied to me. Guess what, though? He replied to everybody. So his whole thing has always been the engagement. Engagement is what works. So his social media game has created a huge following for him, probably many of which who don't
Which is crazy because he's terrible at it. He's objectively bad.
But as long as you engage, you could be the dumbest. I mean, it's true of my local Facebook page. The more you engage, the more people know who you are, period. Even if you're the dumbest, worst person.
He really is dumb. And when I saw him once in the SiriusXM offices, might have been doing your show, I remember thinking to myself, no one who's a good journalist is in this good of shape. It's impossible.
I mean,
it's impossible. Just the number of hours a day that you're clearly devoting to your lats. There's no way that you have time to be watching entire.
All it does is lats. He had a pull down machine in the studio, installed in the studio. They just put it in, and I was like, "What's this? Can I use it?" And they're like, "No."
His microphone was attached to a pull bar, and he just bring it down.
He's beautiful. Women love that guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about now, but yeah.
I remember being there with Michelle Collins, and she turned into a puddle in front of me.
Yeah. His big deep blue eyes. Yeah, the Cuomos are.
Have you seen Broadcast News?
Yeah.
It's like my favorite movie of all time. And Chris Cuomo is essentially William Hurt's character if he was a total fucking dick. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing about Broadcast is one of the things so great is that William Hurt, even though he's ostensibly the devil, as Albert Brooks says it, he's a well-intended, nice guy. He's kind of getting ahead on his looks and charm, but he wants to do well. So it's take William Hurt sort of vapidity and then remove even the good qualities. And then you're sort of left with
hollow him out. By the way, in the live chat, Kim Nyborg says, listen, I despise Chris Cuomo, but I agree with you. He's a real piece of ass. She wrote that in the chat.
Listen, man, we all have to come to terms sometimes with evil people that we, for whatever reason, find attractive. That's something we all have to come to terms with.
She didn't actually.
He's evil. He's just stupid.
She didn't actually say that. She was like, nope. But then I decided to lie about her.
I see. You're doing a little thing with her. I get it.
A little bit.
I get it. Who's the most evil person you find attractive?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, Tommy Lahren.
Oh, really?
I mean, just because it was top of mind yesterday, I was watching her, and she was so bad, and I was like, how is this woman? And I was like, she's got the most beautiful face, and that I think so. That was it. That her and Jeanine Pirro.
Right into drink take.
Her and Caroline Levitt's 68-year-old husband.
Yeah.
Did you see Trump said the other day about her?
Yeah, her lips, her beautiful lips.
That might have been one of the creepiest of all time. To say,
dude, we're so done as a country. We really are. I'm not saying that in a flippant way.
Of this,
because we have been so numbed to this. I think one of the things that sort of created Trump in general, Trump the phenomenon, I'm not the first person or the 10th person to say this, but Trump is not the cause of our problems. He's the result of them.
Mhm.
And that we would create an environment where someone like Trump would feel refreshing and honest, because everyone for so many years has just spoken in, consultant speak, and playing a hide the ball, sort of a shell game with everyone's lives and our tax dollars and everything. And so just hearing somebody be stupid in a way that sounds familiar to you, like, oh, he's stupid like my uncle, or he's stupid like the guy that I work with, that there's something refreshing about that. And I think we prioritize that feeling of genuineness over not sounding insane or being evil. And we are so through the looking glass at this point that that Caroline Levitt thing, it happened, and it washed away within an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, that is insanity. There's like literally every day there is something that should have ended a career. The JD Vance thing yesterday with him having the river raised for his kayak
I
trip.
heard about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
pretty fucked up.
was not long ago that this was a career ender, and
Yeah,
it should be. And the fact that it's not should worry us more than any individual person. The
because of
fact,
the
yeah,
standard that we have set, the
and
moral
all the
standard.
people who are watching this happen, all the people who are going to enter quote unquote public service with the knowledge of like, oh, I can do anything because
Yeah,
the consequences don't exist. We
yeah.
all
I
thought that there would be
disagree with you.
consequences, and they don't exist.
I disagree. Yeah, I think there's going to be a major course correction, and we're going to come back to integrity and accountability, credibility.
Well, I mean, I hope that that would be nice, but it will end up fucking Democrats then too, because we'll be held up to a different standard.
Yeah.
All of a sudden lying will become taboo again suddenly. But who knows?
Let me ask you this: did you see this breaking news? Apparently, Eric Trump is considering running for president.
Well, I'm just glad I didn't waste all my money on that merch. You
Merch.
know, I had two predictions when Trump won again, and I
Oh,
was feeling one of them is kind of silly and one of them is not silly. And I may have said this before, and I was feeling like maybe one of them was off the table, and this is making me thinking maybe it's back on the table. My two productions, the dark one was that before the end of this 4 years, there is going to be scuttlebutt, at least, of some sort of public execution. That is my prediction. By the end of these 4 years, there will be some sort of bread and circus kind of that Trump will try to air some sort of execution, some sort of public execution, or some death row inmate. They're going to want to put it on YouTube, make an example of somebody. I just think, I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying by the end of the 4 years, there will be some sort of public debate over whether there should be a public or live streamed execution. That's my dark guess. Yes. Yeah, pretty much. But my lighter guess was that there would be a power struggle between JD Vance and Don Jr., which for a while didn't seem like it was on the table because Elon entered the picture.
right.
That he kind of took
Yeah.
that role. But now I'm thinking it's back on again. I would have thought Don Jr., not Eric. But who knows? One of them, there is going to be you know, Trump, whether he survives the 4 years or not, his brain is going to be a bull, blood pudding by the time the 4 years is over, and it's going to be increasingly clear of like, okay, who's next? I'm not even talking about whether he decides to run for a third term or not. It's going to be very clear to everyone that this dude's brain is gelatin,
Yeah, yeah.
and we need to think about what comes after. And I'm really curious to see, in a dark, morbid way, if our lives weren't hanging in the balance, it would be very entertaining to watch the palace intrigue and the knives come out once Trump is clearly on the way out.
What if he just stays forever and he's just old and more and more addled by the day? and he just never
Just
leaves.
like a brain in a jar or
It-
something.
like I'm trying to think of in our lifetime where we have seen that, and I think we saw it in Egypt and Saudi Arabia. Like their king and the president, the king of Saudi Arabia and the president of Egypt, both like really got old. And who I think one of the African leaders, these
Oh yeah,
terrible.
all the tin pot dictators, Baby Doc Duvalier, and that's hated.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
like
like, how do you maintain your power? How does somebody not just like literally toss you out when you're an old wrinkled mess that can't remember what day it is? But somehow,
because there's people behind the throne who have an impetus to maintain the same reason that, I mean, I'm not trying to pile on Biden again, but it's like the Biden's decision to step down was, or his resistance to stepping down was fueled not just by him, but for all the people whose power in DC depended on him continuing to be president.
right?
The uh Tom Donilans of the world,
Yeah, a lot of people in the strategists, and not to mention hundreds of people in the administration. Yeah,
yeah. And so, I mean, in an administration, in most cases, the president is primarily a figurehead, and the administration is sort of its own machine. He's the mascot, essentially. Um, but I just don't think anyone is going to have the special sauce once Trump is gone so things will either break wildly and it will all fall apart for them, or someone will come in and it'll be like the authoritarianism we've read about our entire lives, not this sort of dumb WWE version that we have now.
Our friend Tina Winsett says Peter Thiel will never allow one of the Trump boys to unseat JD Vance. I think, and you said that too. I think that's a good point.
But yeah, that's something. Who knows? I honestly don't know who would, because obviously the money and the power would be on Vance's side, but the dipshits, who knows?
No, I gotta let you go. I'm way over. But did you hear that at WNBA games they've been throwing dildos on the court? People have been. I mean, guessing it's men are throwing dildos on the court.
Listen, I'm lightly tossing dildos on the court. Okay, I just was
Yeah.
trying to create a. Oh boy,
Why did you do that? It's pretty fucked up.
I don't see it. I don't know much about it. I know when it happened the first time, and then I think it happened a second and a third time. To me, it's more a people are hack, and they copy things that are funny. I'm sure the first time it happened, because nobody. Listen, there are a lot of misogynists out there, obviously, and there's a lot of people who have all sorts of fucked up attitudes towards women's sports and the WNBA in particular. I don't think anyone's hobby horse is taking down the WNBA to the extent that they're going to be buying a ticket and sneaking in a dildo. That seems like a lot of financial commitment and a time commitment to just.
You think it was like a legitimate female fan?
I think it was
never allowed
somebody. I bet it. Here's a scenario. I know nothing about this. Here's a scenario. A bunch of friends are out and somebody is looking through her purse for her keys and a dildo falls out and everybody's laughing at it and they're busting her balls, and then somebody grabs and and then the second time somebody's like, oh my god, that person got on throwing a dildo went viral, so I'm gonna now do it.
What woman who has a dildo in her purse?
I don't know, man. People work double jobs now, Pete. People have to find their pleasure time where they can find it.
Like I could see a vibrator, but a full dildo in your bag, it seems a little bit.
I don't know where it was. I mean, maybe they were carrying it somewhere else. I can't say.
So
we're above this conversation, Pete.
Oh, you might be. Thank you very much for always joining me here, wrapping up the week. We covered a lot.
By the way, just very quick, I don't want to interrupt, but I did go to the WPGA tournament last year, and I threw my butt plug out onto the green.
You went to a female golf, women's golf tournament, and you took your butt plug out and threw it onto the green?
But that was more just like a show of support. I wanted to let them know.
Is there a video of that? Just your butt plug bouncing around on the green?
My butt plug bouncing around on the green. My butt plug bouncing around the green was also my favorite children's folk song.
Yeah, I bet you liked it.
All right. I think we're done here.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
for joining me,
Pete.
buddy.
I appreciate it.
For watching live. I'll talk to you. Plug your date.
Yeah, tomorrow, Saturday, August 9th. If you're in the Hudson Valley, please come to the Howland Cultural Center to see me do an hour of stand-up under the title "A Lot of Heart." Pete will put the description and the link in the description, I hope.
Yep,
and 8:00 in Beacon, New York. Beautiful Beacon, New York. Come see me do stand-up.
That is on Friday, just in case, because we're talking on Thursday. That's Friday the 8th.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Saturday the 9th. I didn't know when. Oh, right, because we're live. I forgot.
I might be able to actually drive up there. I would do it. I might do it. I love it up there, and I love you. So we'll see.
You'd have a hug waiting for you.
Oh, from you?
It's an enticement. No, just some guy.
No, I'm looking forward to him. Thank you, Christian.
Thanks, Pete.
Bye, everybody.